Good evening, Mill Street, Dublin calling, and here are the results of the Irish jury.
Hi folks, this is Eurovision Ireland and we're trying something different. You can see the five of us on the screen there in front of you. Richard Wave, and Bogdan, and James, and Sarah. Of course, I'm John. We're going to go through one of Ireland's wins. Now, Ireland have had 7 wins, take that Sweden. And we're going to look at one of the national finals that yielded an Irish win. So we're going to start with 1993, when Niamh Kavanagh eventually won in Mill Street Within Your Eyes, but we just thought it'd be interesting to see what she had to beat to get there. And that's the whole premise of this. So stay tuned. You'll see clips of the songs. You might disagree with us, you might agree with us. Tell us what you think. So we'll start. In 1993, the Eurosong was held on the 14th of March at the Point Theatre in Dublin, known as the O2 in Dublin, but it was also the host venue for three Eurovision Song Contests. Take that, Sweden. Because they had the contest to run in Mill Street, they're obviously doing things slightly on the cheap. But it worked anyway. So we're going to start Song A.
I made myself an island, tried to take my heart and hide. I built you all around me, afraid of letting go. But suddenly an open door I never saw before. I see the light leading me home again.
Song A was performed by a little-known singer and actress called Niamh Kavanagh, and the song was called In Your Eyes, and it was written by Jimmy Walsh. Over to Bogdan.
Hello, so this was song number A, and my opinion was that she had a really good live vocals. The song is romantic, it's a bit uplifting, and it's sweet. And having that key change at the right time, it's perfect for the evening. The staging is believable, and she has a likability factor, which I think is a key in Eurovision. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I think I have to agree. It was a very assured performance, but she did look slightly nervous, I thought. But it was a cracking orchestration. It's a song that suits an orchestra. It really does. And Noel Keelan, he could conduct an orchestra like no one else. Anyone else?
Sorry, Richard.
No, I thought she did lack eye contact to begin with, but that was due to her nervousness. But that did pick up during the song, and the whole performance near enough focused near enough on Niamh rather than the backing singers. Because some performances you see a lot of backing singers, but this one purely near enough focused on Niamh.
Sarah?
Yes, I think I'd agree with everybody really. It's certainly the standout performance, I think, of all the performances that we watched, and I can absolutely see why it won. Very accomplished singer, good backing vocals, good stage presence, quite easily. But when you watch the rest of the competition, I can see why Niamh was chosen. Very, very good. Very, very good singer. And I can see how she went on to win the whole contest.
James?
The only thing I dislike about that really is to sort of echo what everyone else said. It's a very polished performance, very well rounded. I thought of all the performances we saw that night, he connected well with the camera. She's very likeable, something already said. And it was also very much a song of the time. It sort of had that zeitgeist feel to it, the early 90s ballad. So I think Ireland hit the ground running with Neve, and it's no surprise really if she went on to win the whole contest.
Yeah, and of course Jimmy Walsh was already an accomplished songwriter. I think he tried several times in the past as well. So third time lucky for him, I believe. Anyway, here's a clip from Song B.
Treating your baby wrong, but I'll be long gone.
Now, as you saw Song B there, it was called Long Gone, and it was sung by Suzanne Bushnell and written by Chris Lewis. Richard, do you want to lead on this one?
Yeah, I thought Suzanne had great stage presence. She was sassy and she had great attitude, which helped build the performance. The connectivity was there, so not only with the camera but with the audience in the Point Theatre as well. And she had great rhythm, so with the beat to the music you could see, not necessarily dancing along, but the movement.
No, I agree with Richard. I think she really sold the performance very well, and it's a very sort of gritty, smoky jazz number, which I think, as a gritty, smoky jazz number, it's a fantastic song. As a Eurovision entry, though, I felt it maybe Eurovision wasn't quite the right arena for it. To me, one thing I noticed, there sort of felt to be any lack of a chorus as they were going along, which I think is always a sort of risky choice at Eurovision. But yeah, she performed it very well, she sold it very well. It was a great song, I just don't think it would translate well to the Eurovision stage.
I have to say, I really loved the 90s hairstyle. That was brilliant for me. I have to concur with James really on that one about the jazzy feel to it. Yes, very jazzy feel. I felt she was quite a strong contender, but not quite in the league of Neve really. Not sure that it would have been the right song to send to Eurovision. I don't think it would have achieved the Neve's Dizzy Heights. I think it would have got lost if it gone mid-table if it had.
Well done.
Yeah, have to agree. She had a really powerful voice, and the song is like a cabaret style and, like I said, jazzy as well. I could see this song maybe doing well on a Broadway stage, or maybe in a movie like Dick Tracy, like the old action ones, detectives. When I saw her and her presence, I said, oh, if only Ariel would be a pop singer, maybe she would look like that.
Yeah, I have to agree with all of that. My first note here is it's not really a contest song. It is an ideal song for a musical. It would sit really well in a musical, like Cabaret or something from the interwar period maybe. And you know, the way she belts out the line, "Listen, big boy," that just sort of like that's always going to draw you in, really, isn't it? But yeah, cracking song, but probably not the best one for a contest, really. Okay, we're going to move on now to song C, which is "If You Changed Your Mind." Here's a clip.
Nights grew longer, the days just wouldn't pass, and you never called me. I changed my number, stopped living in the past, but I felt left behind. And now I find that I tried to hide all the hurt inside. You left all my love, took all my pride. If you changed your mind, I'd be there in the morning. If you called my name, I'd be there just for you. If you looked behind, you'd see how I've grown from wanting to confused and always in love with you. Give your life to me, and I took it all for granted. I just couldn't see the day you'd walk away. If you changed your mind, I'd be there in the morning. If you called my name, I'd be there just for you. If you looked behind, you'd see how I've been falling to confuse. Always in love with you.
Right, see, "If You Change Your Mind" was written and actually performed by Patricia Rowe. Now, she got a bit of form in Irish Eurosong. She'd come second the previous year to Linda Martin. So she obviously thought it was her time. And she tried again in 2014 and came a distant fourth to Cam Lynn with "Heartbeat," 4th out of 5. But anyway, we'll concentrate on 1993. This song, it's good stuff. It's what the Irish do well. It's a good, solid ballad. It's not at the standard of "Why Me" or "In Your Eyes" or any of the other big ballads that have won Eurovision. But it was what the Irish do best. You know, there are a lot of songs like it, but slightly better than average, I thought.
Yeah, I agree with that, John. I just was very bland in comparison with Neves, and it didn't really do anything for me at all. It certainly wasn't the kind of ballad that would make me sit up and take notice and want to go out there and pick up the phone and vote for it. Disappointing, really, sort of in comparison to the first two songs.
I actually thought that she had a powerful voice, and yeah, it was a typical ballad for that time. The lyrics were a bit she's kind of desperate a little bit, but I appreciate her connection with the camera, and also what she was wearing, that was that classic little black dress. But yeah, all in all, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't wow.
It's funny, speaking of that little black dress, when she first came onto the stage, I thought, oh, it's the missing member of Azuka Moreno. She sort of had that look to her. I actually really like the song. It's probably one of my favourites of the whole night. Very slick, performed well, sang with conviction. The one tiny little critique that I have in there is, do you remember as Mom said in "Love, Love, Peace, Peace," you know, show them you're lovable, not desperate. So some of the connections she was making, it was good. She was connecting with the camera, but just ever so often it was sort of delving into deranged, really. So I think she was there. She had a lot of the pieces there. It just needed a little bit of refinement. But actually, I was impressed by that. I like that.
To be honest, I thought she looked rather unsure to begin with, but she soon got into the swing of it. But maybe she got too much into the swing of it. That's what.
Yeah, we love you, Patricia. We still love you, Patricia. Right. Next on our list song D, which was the Irish language song, Os Gaeilge, I understand. Now, in the 90s, the Irish would always have a song, Os Gaeilge, and I believe it had already won a competition in order to get there, and it had already won a monetary prize. There was a monetary prize for winning Irish Eurosong, but there was also a special monetary prize for being the Irish song there. So, we'll just see a quick clip of Mo Bhórnaín Og by Roisin Nia.
Ag fannacht las a das No shield your biach mishnackert No heist lem queen gil No heist lem queen gil Ma Bhórnaín Og tas a gat the lads are she mine Ma Bhórnaín Og my story nog going to the skies on the bare road Ma Bhórnaín Og my comfort Og going to Ma Bhórnaín Og my comfort Og going to
Right, and that was written by Eddie Byrne. Over to James.
Well, you know me, I love languages, I love songs that are not in English, so I was really excited when I heard there was an Irish language song. I was like, oh, okay, I really want to see what this is like. It's a beautiful song, it has that sort of lullaby quality to it, beautiful music. I love the fact that it's in Irish, and I think that's something that Ireland should consider going forward, and maybe considering another entry in Irish. That being said, yes, it's beautiful, yes, it's got that very sort of dreamy quality to it, but for me it sort of didn't really go anywhere after that. It was sort of very one note and sort of a bit monotonous, and as we know, it came last on the night. I can kind of see why. It was a lovely idea, but it just didn't quite get there.
Yeah, for me, it's I actually liked it. I sort of felt it was quite haunting in its way, not unlike The Voice in 1996. I just felt there were some comparisons with that. Not a bad effort, but yeah, it kind of sort of starts off well, and then it just, like as James said, it just kind of disappears.
Yeah, I sort of have to agree. I mean, it's good that the Irish were having Irish language songs in their Irish Eurosong, and it would have been a curious thing to have sent an Irish language song to an Irish contest in Mill Street. But again, I was excited that it was going to be in there. But I just got the impression that, and I could be hopelessly wrong here, that it was a song written in English and then translated to Irish, because it just sounded, while the melody was there, it just sounded a bit clunky to me.
I have to say, I wasn't impressed by the voice. It was okay, but I was impressed by the instrumental. I really liked that, what I was hearing. Having said that, it didn't go anywhere. It was like a 99 ballad, like, oh, let's go to bed, maybe afterwards. It was calm, gentle, very, very sweet and innocent.
I think I agree with Sarah about the haunting aspect, because I thought with the lighting it gave that very atmospheric sort of feel to the whole performance. And if you think about performances at Junior Eurovision, obviously when Ireland go, it's all in Irish, and you do seem to get those sort of emerald greens and the atmospheric backgrounds, apart from maybe one or two entries. The inclusion of the harp, I thought, made it completely Irish, you know, just to overtop the element one bit. But I think the Irish language is a bit understated and needs to be used more.
I think you're definitely right there. English just seems to be all pervasive in Eurovision these days, but it's good to see.
Look at Malta a couple of years ago when the Maltese song came runner-up in the national final.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
but the English
absolutely.
one topped it.
Absolutely. I perfectly understand why English is used a lot more than any other language, or certainly, you know, a native language, but it's good when they go back to the roots like that. But yeah, we'll move on to song E. And here's a clip of Second Time Around by Champ.
Well, I'm not saying you're my possession. You can go your own way anytime. And I'm not begging for your attention. I just want you to stay. I won't let you down. Second time around, I'll be better this time. Keep my feet on the ground. Second time around, takes a little compromise, that's all. But I'm bringing the changes. I'll be better this time. Keep my feet on the ground. Second time around.
Right, second time around. Champ with the guys there. The two guys, Tom Lundy and Phil Reinhardt, the two sort of frontmen with the two writers of the song. And apparently Champ is mashed potato and scallions. A typical bog standard Irish dish, nice and stodgy on a good winter's night, but on what's the hottest day of the year, I think Champ is very far from our minds. So, Sarah, do you want to lead on this one?
Right, well, I love your description, John. I'm not quite sure that's how I would see him, really. I was actually quite shocked because this is a very female-dominated final. So to actually get some male singers and a group at that was really sort of quite, you know, well, great. Yeah. Having said that, I was quite disappointed with the performance overall. It's a little bit, I felt it was a little bit of a country style song, and really didn't do very much for me at all. I just felt it was just a lot of sort of country singing. I didn't feel that they were engaging as much as they could have done on the stage. It's my impression anyway, but not a bad effort.
I agree with Sarah. It did feel like a country band or a Irish pub band feel to it. Completely different tones to the rest of the national final. And it's the one song that had little need for the orchestra, because there's only one or two songs out of that era that didn't rely on the orchestra at the main contest.
That's a good point as well. I always thought it was quite prophetic having second. You know, if you're going to put a number in your song, I sort of always think, you know, is there something going on there? Because of course it did finish second on the night. This group, for me, it looked like they were having fun, which is, I think, one of the reasons they did do so well, because they looked like they were really enjoying it. But the one thing you see with a lot of bands that sort of do a lot of live shows and things, when they're doing a TV show, and Eurovision is essentially a TV show, you find that they're performing to the people in the room rather than to the camera. And as I was watching the performance, I sort of kept looking, they missed a lot of the connection with the camera, but they were giving that attention to the audience in the room. So, the audience in the Point Theatre had a great night watching them. But I think maybe that's why they didn't quite leave up there, because that sort of connection with the home audience was missing.
Bogdan?
I enjoyed the performance, but I felt that they were a bit too happy for what they were singing. Like, they were asking for a second chance, but their second time around, and yeah, it was a bit awkward to see that. And also, I thought that this song would have been a perfect answer to song number C, If You Change Your Mind. So, okay, let's have a second chance.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, that sort of band, that song had a lot of potential, and it was sort of the antithesis of a lot of the other big female ballads, as you pointed out, Sarah, that we saw in the show. But in a small pub, where everyone's just happily drinking and carousing in a little atmosphere, they go down a bomb, absolute bomb. Ideal sort of band. But when you've got like several thousand people performing in front of you and an orchestra behind you, which you probably don't really need for a song like that, it did sort of get lost. Now I'll come on to the positions later, but that one actually came second. A distant second, I'll grant you, but it came second, and it's probably because it was a little bit different to most of the other female-dominated ballads that were there. But yeah, not a bad performance. Now, song F is Hold Out by Off the Record, and we'll see a short clip here.
Something strange has taken hold away from the place in my heart where my soul rests free. Everyone tells me, but baby, I already know you are the one that I love. But I'm feeling so sad in my heart, and it's you, so I hold out, hold on night. You give me the reason to hold out, hold on night. Baby, you know that I hold out, hold on night. And I'm coming home real soon to you. And I'm coming home real soon. Knowing you'll be there waiting for me. So long away, but baby, I'm back and I'm here to stay. Gonna have to hold out, hold on night. You gave me the reason to hold out, hold on night. Baby, I don't have to hold out, hold on night. And I'm coming home real soon to you.
Now, Hold Out by Off the Record was written by Richard Speedy and PJ Smith, who I think were members in the band. So who'd like to kick off with this one?
I'll start. Well, I think the lead singer had a really clear, good voice, and the ballad had like a classical construction, and we had a touch of saxophone just to give it like a jazzy feeling here and there. But I think she was not used maybe singing to a bigger audience, because to me she wasn't connecting with the camera. She was mostly singing looking down, and it did not make me connect with what she was singing, so I was a bit bored, to be honest.
It's weird, there was a bit of a disconnect between her. She has this very soulful, very rich voice. It's, as you say, it's got a bit of a jazzy feel to it. But the whole performance, there was something so hesitant and quite nervous about it. I noticed for a lot of it, she's sort of, almost singing to the floor and sort of, quite suffocating, singing with her eyes closed. There's sort of that barrier which is a shame because I think she has an incredible voice, but I think her stage presence and sort of the staging the whole number sort of sort of undermines that really.
Yes, the thing that first struck me was about the really garish primary colours that sort of hit you when they were on stage. Ooh, yeah, but this was the early 1990s when primary colours were still around and there was still the remnants of big shoulders and power dressing. So it sort of fits in with the time, as did the hairstyle. But
yeah. When I looked at her, I thought it was Sonia to start with because the hairstyle's just exactly the same. Yeah, but I found the green dress very off-putting, I have to say. And I agree with what others have said. Poor connection, really, with the cameras. In fact, the way I feel is that she didn't really look that interested in what she was doing.
Maybe because she knew that the winner had already gone on song A and there was nothing that she could do about it.
Must be nervous.
I too agree with everybody. The voice is there, but everything else seems to sort of, fall away. It's as if she was rather unsure about the whole thing.
Yeah, an interesting performance all round. Okay, moving on to song G, because they lettered songs, didn't number songs in the 1990s in Ireland. So song G, or the seventh song, if you're using new money. This was performed by Davna McNamara and it's called Stay. And here's a brief clip. Now, Stay was written by Michael O'Neill, and Dav, she came back the following year as a backing singer to her sister Orna, which you might do at a future time. So she's obviously in a musical family. Richard, do you want to go?
Yeah, well, I don't want to sound negative, but Dav has a great voice, don't get me wrong, but everything else about the performance seems static. If you understand what I mean, because there's minimal movement from her, and my attention wasn't drawn to anything because there's, no movement, no performance element.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and I think possibly my views may be influenced by the fact that come this point, with having had so many ballads, I was beginning to feel a little bit too ballad heavy by this point. So not to distract from Dav, of course, but I do agree with Richard. I just felt it was very static, not really sort of having much stage presence about her. Another green dress again. Yeah, green seems to be the theme colour. Nothing that really made me excited enough to want to vote for it.
I must admit as well, when I heard, another ballad, another complaining ballad, moaning ballad, okay, I had enough. this point. And okay, her vocals were okay, well, she was quite good actually, but everything else kind of fell apart. And at some bits, she seemed a bit too happy for singing "Stay," and yeah, that's my opinion.
Yeah, I think to echo what everyone else has said, I liked the melody. I thought it was a pleasant melody. The lyrics were quite nice and heartfelt. But as Richard said, it sort of didn't really all come together. That dress, I think, was a very ill-advised choice. Sorry, I sort of took one look at that and was like, ooh, okay. You know, it immediately detracted from the performance because I was looking and thinking, someone signed up on that. I'm sorry, as I said, I did enjoy the song. I liked it. You know, it's melodic, it's heartfelt, but I think the performance needed quite a bit of work. And as Sarah says, well, I think by that point we're all getting a bit balloted out. So
I think so. I think it was a thing in the 1990s. There were a lot of national finals that were death by ballad, and then a lot of them were actually in the Balkans as well. But those ballad-friendly countries, and after all, the ballad had won the previous year. So, how many times, you know, do people copy what won the previous year, hoping that it'll do it again? Of course, sometimes it does, as it did this year. But yeah, I mean, sorry, Dav, but I think it might have been getting on for a ballad too many by song G. So the final song in the Irish Eurosong 1993 was called "Why Aren't We Talking Anyway" and was performed by Perfect Timing and written by Philip O'Neill. And here's a short clip.
Disagreement turns into a row. We haven't spoken for 2 days now. Why we behave like this, I just don't know. We should spend time alone. I'm hoping we'll be together again. We'll sort our differences, I don't know when. Don't wanna lose you, though I can't find a way of sorting it out some way. Why are we talking anyway? Why all these sad games we play? Are we not strong enough to take it on when it gets tough? Why are we talking anyway? Where do we find something so small? We make a big deal over nothing at all. Why are we talking anyway? Why all these sad games we play? Are we not strong enough to take it out when it gets tough? Why are we talking anyway? Why are we talking anyway?
Right, that was song H. Philip O'Neill, no relation to Michael O'Neill, who wrote "Stay" by Dav McNamara. I think you might be able to tell us otherwise. Who's going to lead on this one then?
Well, I think, as I say, come this point, after having Dav previously and feeling sort of really sort of ballad weary about this point, I felt this was a slight improvement on Dav. I felt the stage presence and the connection was a bit better than Dav's. Well, would it have beaten Neve or it been a contender for Neve? I don't think so. No, I think Neve is definitely sort of the clear winner that night. I don't think they would have come anywhere near.
Now, of the other 7 songs outside of "In Your Eyes," this was my favourite by quite a long way. I I'd only have it just a little bit behind your eyes, actually. When I first heard it, it just sort of hit me. Like, oh, this is a ballad and then some. And yeah, the sentiment might be a little doom and gloom, but it was a great ballad. I loved the bridge towards the end as well. It sort of linked nicely, linked the whole song together. I really loved it.
I was going to echo John and say actually it was one of my favourites tonight as well. It was well styled, well staged. She sang with conviction without sort of over-egging it, and it just all came together really nicely. Yeah, would it have beaten Neve? I think maybe not. I think it was still there. Neve seems to be a nice, well-rounded performer of the night, so I think, you know, it's always difficult to say looking back, you know, oh, would it have done better, would it have done this? But I think all the ingredients were there for a future Irish Eurovision contender. It just maybe needs a bit of polishing, but yeah, it was one of my favourites tonight, definitely.
I have to say I enjoyed her vocals, I enjoyed her performance. I was not very much keen to what she was singing because up to this point everybody was complaining about the failed relationship, except Neil. Like, and okay, another one coming, and why aren't we talking anymore? Like, a former ex of you comes up, why aren't we talking anymore? So it's feel like, oh, I don't really want to hear this song. But yeah, I must admit, it was a good song, but I suppose audience wants to connect to something more happy sometimes. Like, Neil's performance was more positive. I think that's what pushed it forward.
I thought she had great voice and connectivity, like everybody said, but before she even got on stage to sing, the audience gave such an impression with claps and stuff that I got the impression that she was one of the favourites.
I got
that impression as well.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe being on last thinks, we've got a bit of advantage here because it was a purely jury vote, but there was always the chance that, you know, the juries might like what was on last. You know, it seems to be more often than not that the song that's later on in the draw these days seems to do better. Now, whether that's just a modern thing or just a televoting thing or whatever, but they must have thought that they were in with a chance with this one. So overall, what do we think of the songs then? In your eyes, was it the clear winner that it turned out to be?
Yes, I say aye. Yes.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, we're looking at the results. They used 10 regional juries, and I'll read them all out where they were. They were in Athlone, in Cavan, in Dublin, in Dundalk, in Dunglow, which is up in County Donegal, I understand, Galway, Limerick, Listowel, Mill Street, of course, and Waterford. And 9 of those juries gave their maximum points to In Your Eyes. The one dissenter was the Cavan jury, which only gave it 10. So Neve had a almost 100% record there. Funnily enough, the Cavan 12 went to second time around by Champ. Probably because it was such a different song. Among the notable points was Long Gone by Suzanne Busham scored 10 points from Dundalk, and very little, if anyone else. And Fora Mavourneen Oak scored 34 points when the minimum possible was 30. So there we go. But yeah, Irish National Final, what are your sort of general roundup views?
Very ballad heavy, this one.
Definitely. Well, ballads were the thing though. Ireland was good at ballads, as it would prove in 93 and in 94 and to an extent in 96, and then coming second in 97. So the ballad ruled for Ireland.
I found it hard to watch ballad after ballad after ballad, considering these days we're so used to having such a mix of genres in national finals.
This final was about a failed relationship, and the only song that didn't sing about that and appreciate what they had won. That's it.
All about positivity.
Yes.
All about positivity.
Let's spread the positivity. There's
Yeah.
enough negative energy in the world. Let's share some.
Yeah. So, if in your eyes, sorry, James.
No, I was just going to say, echoing what Bogdan said, sort of watching all the songs, I was like, this actually sort of like charts a relationship. Yeah, I'm in love with you. Why aren't we talking anymore? I hate you. Can I have another chance? It was sort of almost like a relationship. There were some interesting songs in there. There were some songs I actually listened to, and I found I was humming half an hour later, which I think is always a good sign. It was a bit ballad heavy, and I think, as we all sort of said, there was that point sort of around the sort of last third where we're sort of thinking, oh, it's another ballad. You know, it would have been nice to have something a bit more upbeat in there, but that's just very much the time.
It was definitely the time. Yeah, the orchestra ruled. So, ballad suited an orchestra better than something more up tempo. Now, the song "In Your Eyes," we know Niamh Kavanagh tried a few years later. How do you think "In Your Eyes" would have stood in a modern contest?
I think it would do quite well. I think it would qualify. Probably in the grand final, it wouldn't do anything. But when you've got like the Balkans that love their ballads and Eastern Europe that love their ballads, it'd probably do quite well.
I think jury will still appreciate this song, and like with a better staging, obviously, it could do some good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would have been probably a jury favourite. I'm not so sure how it would have gone down with the public vote. I think it might have been probably, at best, probably mid-table with a public vote, if not lower.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I think the juries would have seen it through because it's very well performed. I think staging would have been critical, and I think if it had the same static staging that we saw at Mill Street, then I think it would have sung for better trace, which is a shame because it really doesn't deserve.
Well, you say that, but look at Salvador a couple of years ago.
That is very true, actually.
Ballad with a very static staging.
But also, if Niamh had an island stage like Salvador, that would have worked more than on a main stage.
Yeah.
I think that was probably what did it for Salvador. Being on that small stage, it felt a lot more intimate, and that if he'd have been on the main stage doing that, it would have just been sort of in an aircraft hangar.
I think so. Yeah. That song would still be jury bait in a contest today. Whether the televoters will go for it, another matter. But we love you, Niamh, if you're watching, and Jimmy Walsh, if you're watching. Right, final thoughts, guys. We're going to be doing more of these. So if you're a regular at Eurovision Ireland, our website, our Facebook pages, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, stay tuned for more. We're not going to reveal what the next one's going to be yet, but we're going to stick, if we can, to contests that eventually were won by Ireland. Since we've got 6 more to choose from, take that, Sweden. Any final comments, guys?
I hope that you enjoyed our views.
Yeah, as always, let us know if you agree, and if you disagree, you don't have to tell us.
Yeah, we want to hear what you think, because it's all about you and us. Yeah. So, we're going to say goodbye now. So this is Richard, waving, and Bogdan.
Bye.
And Sarah.
Bye.
And James.
Bye.
And me.
And all together, bye. Till
Bye.
next time.
Stay safe.
Stay safe.